Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers and to our head-to-head between the Brooks Ghost 17 and the ASICS Gel Nimbus. These are long-standing staples in their respective brand lineups. You've got two trusted, popular cushion daily trainers that are built to handle your everyday runs in comfort. Both of them have been upgraded for 2025 with higher stacks, new uppers and a fresh lick of paint. So which shoe would suit you best? Well, we're here to help you decide in our ASICS Gel Nimbus 27 versus Brooks Ghost 17 head-to-head. So let's get into it. Details first then, and the ASICS Gel Nimbus 27 now packs more foam underfoot with a stack rising to 43.5mm in the heel, 35.5mm in the forefoot for an 8mm drop. The Brooks Ghost 17 also adds more stack with 1mm added to the heel, 3mm added to the forefoot, taking the heel toe setup to 36.5 in the heel, 26.5 in the forefoot for a 10mm drop. On the scales in my US men's 9.5, UK 8.5 test shoe, the Nimbus 27 weighs in at 10.8 ounces or 307 grams. The Brooks Ghost 17 comes in at 10.4 ounces or 296 grams. On price, the Nimbus is $165 or £180. The Ghost 17 is going to set you back $140 or £135. Let's give you a quick shoe comparison then. The Ghost 17 and the Nimbus 27 are both built to eat a big chunk of your daily mileage, though when it comes to the design, they are actually quite different beasts, the way they go about that. The ASICS Gel Nimbus 27 is all about easy pace comfort. The midsole has a thick slab of Flight Foam Blast Plus Eco Foam underfoot, and ASICS has added 1.5mm across the stack versus the old Nimbus 26 for an even more cushioned ride. There's also a pure gel heel insert to improve shock absorption, particularly for heel strikers, and it's one of the heavier daily trainers out there. Meanwhile, the Brooks Ghost 17 hasn't strayed too far from the Ghost blueprint. It still shoots for cushion comfort, but you've got a DNA Loft V3 midsole that's lower stacked compared to the Nimbus, but that's also added 1mm extra foam in the heel, 3mm in the forefoot versus the Ghost 16, so bigger stacks overall here. Up top, the Nimbus 27 has a new mesh upper that successfully balances breathability with a snug supportive fit. The Ghost 17 has a neat double-layered jacquard air mesh upper that is also supportive but airy enough. The Nimbus 27 has a gusseted tongue with a thinner flat wrapping design that saves on the weight. Brooks opts for a non-gusseted tongue with a bit more padding. The heel packages are both well padded. The Brooks has a narrower sort of heel cup design than the Nimbus's sort of cushion setup, which is just a bit more rounded. If you flip them over, the Gel Nimbus 27 outsole has a good covering of AHR+, which is ASIC's grippiest outsole. You've got like strategic placement in the key impact areas on that, rather than covering the whole outsole. The Ghost sort of has a bit more of a generous covering of rubber that's really quite thick across most of the shoe, and that bodes well for the big mileage durability of the Ghost 17.
So when it comes to the fit of the two shoes, I've got my normal sizes here, a UK 9, which is a US 10 for both of these brands. That's the size I use across both the Brooks and the ASICS range, and these shoes fit me very well in that size. I would say they are certainly true to size shoes. I will stick to your normal running shoe size. Got a pretty roomy fit up top around the toes in both of these shoes. Good hold around the midfoot and heel. There's lots of padding on both of these shoes around the back, but it seems to be quite well placed. I haven't had any problems with it feeling overbearing or irritating my Achilles or anything like that. So I do think you should just stick to your normal size. Good fits on both of these shoes. Pretty thick padded uppers as you'd expect from this kind of shoe. So if you do prefer a more lightweight, breathable upper, you're not really getting it so much here, but I haven't had any real concerns about these two when running in the heat, and there's plenty of comfort here for sure.
So the fit for me in the Brooks Ghost 17, I'm a size 8 in the UK, this is a size 8. It's very comfortable shoe. There's plenty of space before my big toe, and it's a fairly comfortable fit across the shoe. It's not the widest shoe out there. I definitely think I'm probably at the limit of this shoe. I think if I had wider feet, I might find the midfoot a little bit restrictive, but it's plenty of padding on it. It's a Brooks shoe. Brooks are normally pretty good at doing nice, comfortable, accessible uppers, so I would definitely say to my UK size 8 in this shoe. I haven't had any problems in running in it. The ASICS Gel Nimbus 27, I think there's a bit more space in this shoe, so both of these shoes have probably a tiny bit more before my big toe in a UK size 8 than I see in a lot of the shoes, but they are cushioned, comfy daily shoes, so you'd probably expect that, but it does feel like there's a bit more width to this shoe than you get in the Brooks Ghost 17. Still loads of padding around it, Very comfortable shoe, pretty similar for me on both of them. I would stay to my UK size 8 in both of these shoes.
When it comes to fit, I ran in a UK 8.5, US 9.5, which is my regular size in both brands' shoes. The Nimbus 27 I find roomy and accommodating with plenty of length and wiggle room in the toe box. It's generally easy to get locked down for good security and a pretty sort of roomy fit. The Go 17 is also lovely and roomy in the toe box. Again, good length and clearance. I think the uppers in this shoe flex plenty to create a spacious but not too baggy feel. I had no trouble with midfoot lockdown in the Ghost either, and the heel held nicely for me. That narrow heel works really well. I approve of the change in the heel collar package as well. The thick roll top collars that you've got in the Go 16 gave my Achilles a bit of rubbing and grief. That is not the case now with the 17. In both shoes, overall from the fit, I would just recommend going true to size.
Okay, so these are two shoes that you're going to look at if you are clocking up the miles, and the main thing you're looking for is just durability, comfort, a bit of stability maybe, and just being able to just do a lot of miles in comfort really. You're not going to be doing loads of fast stuff or anything in these shoes. I'll start with the Go 17 now. Just point out that I'm not a massive fan of either of these shoes. They're not shoes that I generally pick up for a lot of things. But Go 17 is a shoe that I don't really get on with. I can see the benefits of it for certain people. I think it is a very accessible shoe. I think you get, especially if you're a beginner or if you're a general runner that wants a bit of everything but isn't doing anything that over the top, like you're not going to do loads of speed sessions in it, you're maybe not doing really long easy runs in it, but you are getting a good level of stability, good bit of comfort, and it's really just a solid, accessible, simple shoe. There's not really a lot it does, and that's why the Brooks Ghost line does so well, because it is reliable in a lot of ways. It's got this DNA Loft nitrogen injected midsole in it. It's a little bit softer than what I experienced in the previous version, but it's still a fairly firm-ish midsole, so you don't get a lot from it. There's not a lot of bounce in it. It just feels very sturdy on the ground. You get a lot of stability from it. But the problem I find with the Ghost 17 is I don't really get a nice smooth heel to toe transition in it. It just doesn't feel like a really enjoyable, fun shoe to run in. It's just a solid shoe. And as a result, it's not a shoe that I'd really pick up for a lot. With daily shoes, I generally want something that is a bit more versatile. I generally want, with a daily shoe, something that's fun, that makes me go out and enjoy the run a bit more. Don't get that from the Brooks Go 17. It still feels like a very old style conventional shoe to me, which I think is what a lot of people want from it. The ASICS Gel Nimbus 27. So this shoe is there's a lot of stack, a lot of cushioning in this. But in comparison to a lot of the other cushion shoes out there, what I find about the Nimbus 27 is that it doesn't really have a nice smooth heel to toe transition. The geometry doesn't really roll me forward and make the run really enjoyable. I do find that it's a little bit of a slap shoe where I'm hitting the ground and I'm just lifting my foot off. The geometry isn't really rolling me forward very much. It's absolutely fine if you're just clocking up the miles and you just want something that's going to deaden that impact, give you a bit of protection, give you a bit of comfort. Absolutely fine. But I don't feel it's very smooth in the way that it rides. So I'd very rarely pick this shoe up for easy day runs or anything as well. I definitely wouldn't use it for a longer run because I just don't feel it'd be helping me that much. But I think it's absolutely fine for just doing recovery runs, easy runs if you're not looking for anything special. I just think there are better options out there when it comes to these chunky cushion shoes. Midsole is fairly soft, but when you're running in it, I don't really feel like I'm getting a lot of that softness coming back to me. So it's a relatively balanced midsole, not too firm, not too soft, sits in the middle. So it might be better for heavier runners that want a max cushion shoe. But other than that, I don't really get a lot from the shoe. It's not particularly versatile at all. I definitely wouldn't use it for any faster training. And for easy runs, as I say, I want something that's a little bit softer and just rolls me through and I enjoy it a bit more. So they are quite different in a lot of ways, really due to that stack. But both of them are shoes that I think are very limited to a certain type of run. And they're not shoes that I would put into my rotation. But I can see there's a certain type of runner that would like these. And it's probably going to be those beginner runners that want a bit more support and stability. The Nimbus 27 not as stable as the Go 17, but pretty good for a big stack cushion shoe. So and the outsole on these, so the Brooks Go 17 has a fantastic outsole, really thick, lots of rubber on there. all goes to help that durability factor, but good grip as well. Nimbus 27, not so much, all right level, but not the most amazing grip. So I definitely say the Brooks Go 17 is a better grip on the outsole. So yeah, tricky shoes to compare, and neither which I'm a massive fan of.
Now, in testing, I've run north of 30 miles in the ASICS Gel Nimbus 27, including a 2-hour effort to test the long haul comfort. I have done 25 miles plus in the Brooks Go 17. I've done lots of slower to cruising miles. I did one half marathon distant test that was up to 2.5 hours on feet. Plus, I popped out a few faster segments in there too to see what it could do when you push the pace a little. And that goes for sort of both shoes. As usual, I've run mainly on the road. I've also done some light off-road as well. Similarities here, both shoes have featured generous cushioned platforms that are designed to protect your feet from the road and give you a controlled, reliable ride. However, the Gel Nimbus 27 takes cushion, I think, to another level, particularly in terms of the overall sort of stack and the foam that it's putting under foot with that extra additional volume of Flight Foam Blast Plus. You've also got a wider base here. This generation basically is just as Nimbusy as the previous generation, so you're getting plushness underfoot with a highly protective ride, but it can be a bit slappy from time to time, and it definitely sort of lacks the agility of the Go 17, I think, which is a sprightlier ride by far. Now, the Go 17, I'd say, is good, reliable, stable, consistent. It's like a workhorse shoe. The changes to this generation, I think, are small, but they add up to something a bit more. It somehow feels more exciting, I think, than the last gen. And I find the Go 17 a really easy shoe to tick over the daily miles. It's one of the best value for money daily training neutral running shoes on the market, I'd say. And the performance for a daily trainer, I think, is great with a well-cushioned, smooth, sort of responsive feel. On durability, both shoes have shown little signs of wear and tear from the miles I've done. I've no worries really about either as a trainer that will keep going for sort of hundreds of miles and look after you. Yeah, durability seems to be solid for both.
So I've run about 50 to 60k in both the ASICS Gel Nimbus 27 and the Brooks Go 17. Most of that running has been at a pretty relaxed pace, just using them for normal daily training runs at easy paces. I've also done a long run in the Nimbus and a progression run in the Brooks, and in both of those I stepped up the pace a little bit towards the end of those runs to see how they feel, and they both feel pretty good. They are solid, comfortable daily trainers that are going to pick up a lot of miles. They're going to last forever. They're going to protect you from the impact of running, even if neither has the most exciting ride. But there are some differences between them for sure. Obviously, the ASICS Gel Nimbus is at the top of ASICS's cushioned range. It's the most cushioned shoe. It sits above something like the Nova Blast, whereas the Go 17 sits below the Glycerin 22, and actually a few things now like the Glycerin Max, the Ghost Max 3. But it's still a highly cushioned daily trainer that can perform a similar role to the Nimbus. But you have got a firmer feeling with the Ghost, I would say. It's a lighter shoe. It feels like a slightly narrower shoe, a little bit nimbler, I would actually say, than the Nimbus as well. And the foam is a bit firmer. It's also probably a bit poppier and a bit more responsive than the stuff on the Nimbus, which is pretty soft. You do get a little bit of bounce back off the forefoot with the Nimbus, but the Ghost, I think, does have a little bit more pop to it with that DNA Loft foam, which I actually am a pretty big fan of. It's quite a consistent foam. It really holds up well to long runs. It feels just the same at the end of a long run as it does at the start of a long run. It's not the most exciting foam. It's not the squishiest, the most comfortable foam, but it does do a pretty cool job. And I think of the two shoes, the Ghost is a slightly more versatile one than the Nimbus. For me, both of these shoes would be ones that I'd use primarily for easy running. I don't really enjoy using them at speed. They're a bit heavy for my taste, and a bit more geared up for comfort than speed. And I prefer a more dedicated speed shoe myself, but can run reasonably quick in both of these shoes using them as daily trainers. And I think the Ghost does that job a little bit better than the Nimbus with its lighter, more kind of poppy foam, more nimble design. Whereas the Nimbus really is built for all-out comfort, and it's got a really wide base to provide stability with the higher stack you have here than on the Ghost, which is is a pretty high stack shoe, but by today's standards is a lot lower stack than something like the Nimbus. And I think you've got a bit more of a rocker as well on the Nimbus and a slightly lower drop, and that creates a slightly smoother sensation to the ride. When combined with that soft foam, I think it does make it a bit more comfortable, a bit more relaxing to use for easy long runs. That kind of thing it really does support the body well and give you a lot of stability as well as cushioning underfoot. Like I say, it's not the best for then trying to up the pace, but it is a fairly smooth shoe. Like I say, you can use these as daily trainers and go and do your speed sessions with them if you want to, if you don't mind having a really cushioned shoe for that kind of thing. Lots of runners don't, but there are certainly dedicated speed shoes in both these brands' ranges that will do that job a bit better, and the Brooks is the more versatile of the two. But yeah, you are getting a bit more comfort from the Nimbus. That's something I definitely noticed when I ran in both shoes at the same time. The kind of width of the platform of the Nimbus, the comfort there, the way it's got really quite a smooth feeling right from the back of the shoe. I think the heel bevel on the Nimbus is really good. As a heel striker, I really do feel like I'm moved through my foot strike nice and smoothly in it. The Brooks is a bit snappier, got a slightly flatter feeling ride, a bit more traditional. You kind of snap through, and while I do think you get a slightly faster transition and maybe get a bit more back off the toes, it's probably a little bit less comfortable than the Nimbus. Though still certainly pretty comfortable, the Ghost here. Like, it's not at all an uncomfortable shoe, just the Nimbus is geared up a bit more for that, with that softer foam and slightly smoother ride. So my verdict on these two shoes, they're both pretty solid daily trainers, durable, comfortable, decent outsoles, comfortable uppers, will last a long time and do a good job of soaking up easy miles. There are differences between them. The Brooks is a bit firmer. I think it's a little bit more versatile. I think it's probably the better daily trainer option if that's what you're looking for, but the Nimbus is more comfortable. It's very smooth and rockered, and it is a more protective, stable and comfortable shoe all round. It's also a much more expensive shoe here in the UK for sure. Like, I think if I was looking at these two shoes to add to my rotation, just to use for those easy runs and pick up, a lot of relaxed mileage, I just get the Brooks because it was cheaper. I think probably prefer the ride of the Nimbus for that, but I wouldn't be paying that much more for it compared to the Ghost 17, which still does that job really well, with that benefit that, if I do want to do some slightly faster stuff in it, I think it's a little bit better for that than the Nimbus. But if you are just looking for the all-out most comfortable shoe of the pair, it is the ASICS Gel Nimbus 27, and you might be worth paying the extra for that. In the US, the price gap is a little bit smaller as well, which might make it easier to do that. I'd say with both of these shoes, I'd also be very happy looking at the previous model. I think you're getting a lot of similarities, especially with the Gel Nimbus 26, which I found very similar to the Gel Nimbus 27. Got a slight change in drop with the newer Brooks, but I do think the overall performance and experience is quite similar. So if value is a big concern, the Brooks is the better value shoe, and the better value still will be found with the older models of these two shoes. So yeah, two solid daily trainers. Don't dislike either of them. Neither are exactly the kind of shoe that floats my boat, but they do their job really well and will work for a wide range of runners with their fairly neutral, supportive, comfortable rides.
So my verdict on these two shoes, I would struggle to choose between these two shoes because I wouldn't really pick up either of those if I was adding a shoe to my rotation, or if I was just looking for a shoe that I can tick off a lot of miles in. And that's because they're a little bit limited. I think if it came down to it and I had to choose between these two shoes, I'd be looking at a shoe for easy sessions. I definitely wouldn't use these for anything else, for versatile training and anything like that. And because I'm looking for an easy run shoe, I would go for the ASICS Gel Nimbus 27, just because I think it does have a nicer midsole. It's a little bit more comfortable to run in, and you do get a tiny little bit of bounce from that midsole foam. Not a lot, it's very minimal, but it's definitely a shoe that I'd say is better for comfortable, easy recovery runs and things like that. I think the Brooks Go 17 is very good at that sort of tick in the box stability, accessibility, but for me it's just not. I don't get a lot from it when I run in it. It doesn't make me want to run faster, doesn't make me enjoy an easy run more, and I don't necessarily need stability, so I'm not really getting a lot from it. And I think there's lots of shoes out there that could probably do this in a very similar way, but then again, lots of shoes that excel in certain areas like cushioning and comfort and roll through and things like that. So I think really the Go 17 is a beginner shoe, and it's not one that I pick up. So I'm going to go for the ASICS Gel Nimbus 27 in this versus.
Verdict then, and the biggest difference between the Nimbus 27 and the Go 17 for me is the agility and the versatility. I think the heft of the ASICS Gel Nimbus is somewhat kind of limits it to sort of lower pace runs is how I'd use it. It does that job very well in a classic Nimbus way, and if your top priority is softer, smoother, protective road eating comfort for your easiest of easy miles, then I think the Gel Nimbus 27 delivers with its kind of wide, high volume kind of midsole platform that just eats up the road. But if you want a shoe that can cope with a wider range of runs, it's like everything from cushioning your easy miles up to providing a bit of pop if you do want to pick up the pace a bit more, I think the Brooks Go 17 definitely has more gears. It's more of a utility shoe, I think, than the Nimbus 27. If I had to choose one shoe, I'd invest in the cheaper and more versatile Brooks Go 17, simply because of that pace range, versatility range, and the lighter, sprightlier energy that you get. The more connected road feel as well also make it stand out for me. Beyond these two shoes, I think there are loads of great alternatives. I'd consider shoes like the Saucony Ride 18 or the Triumph 23. The ASICS Nova Blast and the Nike Vomero 18 are probably good rivals as well, each with a similar run range. I'd say the Brooks Glycerin 22 is also a lively alternative to the Ghost. The other one I really like for stability at the moment I've just tested is the Hoka Arahi 8, which I think is a fantastic shoe. So there you have it. That's been our head-to-head of the Brooks Go 17, the ASICS Gel Nimbus. Give us a like if you found it useful. Drop us a comment if you've got a view on both of these shoes. Tell us which you'd choose and why. If you're interested in Easy Day shoes, I'm going to pop a video up on the channel that you should go and watch now. Otherwise, thank you very much for stopping by, and until next time, happy running, people.